Hey, one more thing before you go. What if the deepest truth of your life began arriving in the middle of the night, unbidden, poetic, and transformative? How does a CEO reconcile boardroom strategy with metaphysical insight? Stay tuned. We're going to answer these questions and so many more. I'm your host, Michael Hurst. Welcome to One More Thing Before You Go. In this week's episode of One More Thing Before You Go, I sit down with Sara Byers. She's a business leader, a board chair, and a spiritual seeker whose journey took a profound turn after the passing of her stepfather in 2020. What began as grief transformed into a metaphysical awakening. Sara started receiving poetry, over 3,000 pieces to date, often in the quiet hours of the night and often without conscious recollection. And we're going to talk about that. But this episode isn't just about poetry. It's about the intersection of leadership, soul, and the unseen forces that guide us. Sara's story invites us to explore how personal transformation can ripple into collective change and how the integration of business, spirituality, and metaphysics might be the key to a more connected world. Welcome to the show, Sara.
Thank you so much, Michael. I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for that amazing introduction.
Well, yeah, I've got an amazing person here, so it deserved an amazing introduction.
Thank you for that. It's beautiful.
But I like to start at the beginning. So where'd you grow up?
I grew up in Vermont, which is where I live now. And I grew up here, moved away in my early 20s, and then moved back to Vermont 7.5 years later, once I'd sort of discovered myself outside of my parents and upbringing. I was ready to come back to Vermont. It's a beautiful place, and one in which I credit a lot of the success, achievement, and becoming that I've experienced.
I believe that. Do you have any brothers, sisters?
I have one sister. She is 3 years younger than me. Her journey through life has been a really important part of my life. So she has suffered with substance use disorder for about 35 years. And, watching her, understanding the commonality that we all share beyond our identity in our day-to-day has been super powerful. And it's actually been the catalyst for much of my work.
That's amazing, actually. I'm sorry that she's going through that. I know that each one of us have a journey in life. Sometimes we have obstacles in the way, or sometimes we are given challenges. And I know that I can tell just looking at you that you have given your sister the opportunity to help her overcome that.
Yeah, thank you for that. Thank you. Well, we are the one thing that I've learned, and probably what's informed my community leadership, is that the line between my sister and I is basically invisible. I could be her, she could be me. And so there's no difference between us. And yeah, but thank you for saying that. Yeah.
That's a strong. I mean, that's a strong bond. By what'd you want to be when you grew up? I know that you have a love of mine. I'll say it out loud. Pizza. I have to say that.
I love that. I love it. Well, it's interesting because I never did want to do pizza. So the year that I was born, my father opened his first pizza restaurant. And when you grow up with pizza smell everywhere, especially as a young child, that's the last thing you want to do. Though you do not want to smell the way every car smells. But what I wanted to be when I was younger, I wanted to be a lawyer, actually. I had an experience where I got to spend part of 8th grade in the Vermont legislature serving as a legislative page. And so I got to go to school on Mondays and then Tuesday through Friday spend at our state capitol. So I was pretty determined to become a lawyer who was going to help impact the world in positive ways. But it didn't turn out that way. Pizza ended up being the way that I would impact the world.
Well, look, a universe puts us, I think, where we're supposed to be at the time
Yeah.
we're supposed to be. I agree with that.
Wow.
I have so many fond memories of a couple of pizza joints in where I grew up in Colorado Springs as a child. And then my
Mhm.
first job ever, I grew up in an Italian environment. So the pizza I'm talking about real Italian. My sister married out in
Yeah.
Rome. We have Sicilian in our family. We have Tuscans in our
Oh.
family. And then my brother-in-law at the time, they've since divorced and she's remarried, but my brother-in-law at the time, Roberto, brought a whole bunch of people over from Italy. So we were all living in the same apartment complex. We had dinners together. I learned society, I learned culture, I learned
Oh.
pasta, gnocchi, you name it, focaccia, uh,
Mm.
and pizza. My first job was in Two
Yeah.
Guys from Italy Pizzeria, and it was two guys from Italy.
Oh my gosh.
So
Okay, that's incredible. Let me just say that going to Italy 2 years ago, 3 years ago, um, oh my gosh, I just want to sit. I want to be, I'm someone, I want to just take in the environment, including the pizza. I mean, I couldn't eat enough pizza.
Oh, yeah,
I never get sick of pizza.
the
Do you get sick of pizza?
no, in fact, I have a solo stove now. I'm working towards a dome arc
Wow.
XL. We make pizza every Friday night, and we make it in the solo stove at the moment. It's a pizza oven, sits out on the back porch, or the back patio,
Mm.
and it is, yeah, it is,
I
and
love
we
it.
make our own. So we don't, it's great. It's life.
Yes, it is.
It is. It is. Pizza
Yeah,
is my
food.
life.
I love that, and it is a beautiful. So my father, I mentioned the year I was born, he actually bought into, and you're going to be okay. Don't be try to withstand this. He bought into a Domino's. He was the 50th. He had the 50th Domino's pizza store in the country. And at that time, you were sourcing your own ingredients. It was a very
Yeah.
different
In the
sort of
beginning.
gig than it is now. And he got out of that in the early 80s, and then in 1990 wanted to create his own. And we've been going 35 years, and then I joined in 2001. Yeah.
That's amazing. I mean, I think that from a family perspective, going to a family
Mhm.
pizzeria, a family restaurant, a family-owned restaurant is much
Mhm.
nicer, much
Yeah.
better for us, both emotionally as well as satisfying. And it's satisfying in many, many, many ways. So you did the right thing. It's all good. You guys did the right thing. You did the right thing.
Thank you for that.
Right then, we're going to get back
Thank
to
you for
the
that.
agenda. Do you believe in the mystery of subconscious creativity? I mean, I do. We talked a little bit before this started about some of our backgrounds, and I 100% believe in the creativity aspect of healing and the creativity. I'm getting too excited. I can't talk. So I'll let you talk from now. Do you believe in the mystery of subconscious creativity?
Oh my gosh, absolutely. And I think that it is playing itself out in all of our lives in a variety of ways. I think it played itself out before I even understood it. But today, it is very specific. As you mentioned, I say receive because I don't know another word to use, poetry and words in the middle of the night. They've even become somewhat science fictiony lately. But they come from somewhere. When they first started coming through, they would use words like hearken, words that I do not use. And so I knew it wasn't conscious. I now, having listened to other creators in a variety of ways, and one of my absolute favorites lately is John Batiste, talking about that liminal space that perhaps is universal that all of us can tap into. So I'm not certain if it is my subconscious or some type of universality that is available to all of us. But nevertheless, it has changed my life in extraordinary ways, and I would never want to lose this.
John Baptiste, the jazz artist.
Yes,
I love him.
me
What
too.
he's gone through. And what he and his family have gone through. Actually, he and his wife. It is a profound opportunity for us to really realize that there's more to life than what we see in front of us. I think
Mhm.
it's there's. there is more to life within us. And I think that the messages that you're getting are an amazing opportunity, especially unconsciously,
Mhm.
is a conversation that you're having with the universe that then you get to share with the rest of us.
Mm. It's so profound, and I think initially I was kind of in hiding because all of this is coming in. It to your point, not sure how it meshes with the business and community leadership part at that time. And so, but it flooded in in this torrent, and I'm like, I know this isn't just for me. And so I continue to try to find ways to disseminate it because it's guided my life so beautifully. Yeah.
Now, did this start taking place before or after your father died?
Mm, after actually. So, my stepfather passed away in March of 2020, and he had had Alzheimer's for 12 years. And interestingly, he was an attorney. And he and I, prior to his Alzheimer's, we were both very strong-willed. So, we wouldn't clash necessarily, but there was some tension there. And once he had Alzheimer's, certain parts of himself started to fade away and his spirit started to shine through. I now know that I was able to feel his spirit before he passed. I would be sitting in my office and just feel drawn to him, magnetized, and would need to go visit. I went and visited the last day he was at his house because I just felt him calling me. Um, and we passed vigil by his bedside for 12 days, and I would drive back and forth from my house to hospice listening to the instrumental from the Titanic because I just wanted to feel it all. And he passed one evening, and I drove home after, and I pulled into my road, and I said, "Okay, this is where this music needs to stop." So I pulled up a new song on my car radio, and it pulled up the Lumineers and their song Ophelia, but a different song started playing through the speakers, and it was Frank Sinatra's My Way.
That's amazing.
And I knew that it was Harvey talking with me. I just knew. And 7 months later, my mom, uh, who read a ton of books on death, afterlife, found a medium who really resonated with her, who had a 7 month waiting list. So on Christmas Eve that year, she got on the phone with this medium in Arizona, and she said, "There is a gentleman here, and he is singing. Does Frank Sinatra's My Way mean anything to you?" And that was all I needed. That changed everything for me. It moved from exploration to understanding.
That is amazing. I think that, first and foremost, I'm sorry that you went through that journey with the Alzheimer's. We understand, my wife and I understand it from a personal perspective. Her
Mm.
father died of Lewy body dementia.
Oh,
And we were with him for the last 18 months. We took care of him for 18 months of his life
oh,
before
wow,
he passed.
Michael.
So I walked your pathway, and it's a hard journey to walk it's a long goodbye. And
Yeah.
long goodbyes are, everybody thinks, oh, you get easy because you get that
Mm.
extra time. And yes, in some
In
respects
some ways.
it is, but in other respects, it's still unexpected. It's still a loss. It's still a grief. So
Yeah.
I'm sorry for your loss,
Thank
but
you.
I'm really happy that you got a message from the other side that said, hey, everything is cool.
Yeah. Everything is cool. I mean, it's been amazing. Some of the words that I receive, sometimes I can be in someone's energy from the other side and I am translating it. So that happens here and there, both with people that I know and with people that I don't necessarily know, but I'm inspired by somehow.
Mm.
And that I just find it such an honor to be situated in someone else's field in that way. And I love the ability to write from that place so that
Yeah,
we can all share
that's
it.
great. Yeah, that's
Mhm.
great. I think that we are all connected. We're all connected in
Mhm.
this universe, and I love the idea that you were able to reach into that and recognize that connection. Do you believe that grief can open a portal to deeper truth like that?
Absolutely. Yes, because I think when you think about all of the layers that we acquire throughout our lives, we just layer ourselves with stuff, ideas, stories. And I think sometimes it's hard to permeate those layers. The unseen is subtle. And so to permeate those layers is challenging. But when we're in a state of grief, those layers almost fall off. We're at our most visceral core selves. And so I think it really allows the unseen to be recognized in a way that it can be tough in our everyday lives.
It is. I know that we all have that opportunity to touch that. I think some of us are able to touch it a little closer, or a little easier.
Mhm.
For whatever reason, the universe allows that opening to come about.
Yeah.
I know that through my conversations over the last almost 6 years now, it's been an amazing journey into understanding the levels of which people can do, what you've done.
Mm.
But
Mhm.
you've reached it in a very unique way because you've written over
Mhm.
3,000 poems, and you see them message. You see them as messages, memories, or, I mean, that's a lot. That's a lot of poetry.
It really is. And I never I struggled with what to call it because, you know, it is poetry, but it's guidance. It's there. I often call them words because I have nothing else to really, is it going to be you are a stunning poet who has received beautiful accolades. This to me, and I've been cautioned not to speak negatively about my poetry, and so I'm not, but it is it is guidance. It is ethereal at times. It feels like I am sometimes speaking in a different voice. Yeah.
And when this happens, and when this, I mean, here's the thing. I I I believe that, when you're given the gift of creativity, when it comes through
Mm.
the universe and it comes through the messages like that from the universe, it's a profound opportunity for us to really have a big, deeper understanding of how we're connected.
Hmm. Yes.
So, regardless regardless of how you feel the words are put down,
Hmm.
whether you think it's
Hmm.
poetry. I mean, look at the changes in how poetry is defined even today. You look at more
Yeah.
lyrical poetry, like I always mess his name up. Sorry, Lin, Lin Manuel Miranda.
Yes. Yes.
There we go.
Right.
Maybe I should sing his name and it might come out better. But
Right. No, you're so right.
he opened the door to, I mean, people now understand, for example, the Constitution from a different
Yes.
perspective, because he took the opportunity for something that, like, I had to learn the Constitution over and over and over again when I was going through the police academy. When I went
Hmm.
through college in the beginning, I went through college to get degrees
Hmm.
in law enforcement, and they
Hmm.
drill the Constitution into you, but it's boring. And you get
Yeah.
kids that go, "Well, yeah, I heard about that, but it's boring." But Lin Manuel received that gift of creativity through lyrical
Hmm.
poetry and brought it to the world. And it allowed everybody to have a better understanding and go, "Oh, wow, I walk away learning something." So I think
Mm.
you have the
Hmm.
opportunity to do the same thing
Yep.
with the way that you're presenting your poetry.
Thank you for saying that because I have recently, I would say over the last couple of weeks, come to understand that I believe that purpose, that it's in a way, it's sort of I see it as almost pulling in the unseen in a way that is palatable for people who maybe aren't in this space. So it's sort of that first
That
step.
works.
Yeah. So thank you for saying that.
Well, let's talk. You mentioned a word. How do you define the unseen, and how has it shaped your understanding of reality? Because I think that in trying to understand the unseen, uh, help us understand.
Hmm.
Let's talk about that
Sure.
just a second.
And I'd be curious in your 6 years through your podcast if that's sort of developed within you because it continues to expand for me. I think in the beginning, I saw it as outside of myself. I saw it as this sort of amorphous something that was happening around me that I couldn't quite grab onto. But I think I now understand it to be inside myself. So I now see the unseen as being infinite within me, and so it's an infinite exploration within me that it's just an infinite understanding. There's just it's like an explorer. When you think of exploring like tangible lands, it's discovery within oneself. The more I go, the deeper I go, the more I realize everything is connected. The more I can, literally in the same way that I receive words, I can also have a connection in what I would call a conversation with almost anything. I don't use that all that often, but I now, because the words have gotten me to a place where I now understand where that's received, so I can experience it in a variety of ways in my life with an animal or a tree. I am just, because we are the same. So it is finding that space within myself that holds the thing that I'm talking to.
Yeah, what you're talking is the same thing Native Americans believe in and practice. Same thing that Tibetans, Hindi,
Mhm.
Buddhism, Zen,
Mhm.
they all feel the same way. We are connected all as one. So when you asked me what my thoughts were, and in all
Yes.
the conversations that I've had with individuals from from those perspectives, from
Mhm.
those philosophies, from those, some are called religions, but they call them more philosophies. Is that we are all connected, and that we once we have the opportunity to touch that universe in such a way, you are correct. It becomes part of us and it's deep within inside us. And when you reach the level that the unseen becomes the seen, then it allows us a better understanding of how we all fit into this
Totally.
whole scheme of things,
Yes.
including the trees and the birds and the bees and take 5 minutes and go out and sit on a patio and just breathe and look at the sky and look at the clouds and just relax and then watch the birds, watch the bees, watch the animals, the bunnies, the anything that's in and around you, and watch how they interact with each other and how they interact
Mhm.
with the earth, Mother Earth. And you'll
Yes.
see how the unseen can be
Mhm.
seen. It's like listening to
Absolutely.
it's like listening to music. Music and dance are an international language. You can enjoy and understand what a music is, no matter
Mhm.
which language it's in. You get to feel, you get to
Yes.
close your eyes, and you
Yes.
really understand where it's coming from. You watch
Mhm.
a dance, and especially interpretive dance, you can see a story unfold. So, in a sense, you're seeing the unseen even from that perspective.
Absolutely. That's
So,
so beautiful. Y- And I will add that I now walk through life. So I recently I was not as excited about the Vermont winter, and I decided that I wanted to head to. I used to live in South Florida, so I went to Miami for 3 months last year by myself. Essentially, my husband was down for a little bit, but what I learned is I also see myself almost as a radar. Like I'm walking through life. So when you're out in the backyard with the bunnies and the birds, and when you're walking through the streets of Miami with the traffic and the noise, watching yourself, being aware of yourself almost as a radar in a variety of different environments is where I now that's where my current discovery of the unseen lies, is in putting myself in new and different conversations. Because this conversation with you is one, um, because I know that I am expanding and unfolding is probably a better word, unfolding with all of it.
that's amazing, and I think that's another level of you touching the universe in a way that it allows you to present it to us in a very
Mm-hmm.
unique way. So very cool.
Thanks.
It's just cool.
Thanks. Thank you.
Um, you're a CEO and
Mhm.
a board leader.
Mhm.
Um, because you've been presented with this metaphysical insight into the world and nature and the universe and how it all works and how we're all connected, and that each and everything that we do has an effect on those things around us in some form or another. How do you
Mhm.
integrate the metaphysical insights into like your business? Do you do that?
Yeah. Yes. My business, it's almost easier than the other things. So business is easier because these are people who I have worked with for 20 years who have watched me go through all of this. So it's somewhat easier because it is our family business and we are evolving together. I think where I had the greatest challenge was in community leadership. Most I chair a college board right now. I in January finished chairing the Vermont Business Roundtable, which is a group of 120 CEOs. That was tough for me at first because I didn't understand where those two things correlated, and but I've now learned that it doesn't need to be explicit, meaning I still did start a roundtable board meeting with one of my poems because that is me, and that I'm certain had never been done before. And But it is also in my being the wholest version of myself. I am affecting the spheres in which I sit. And it has taken me a while to have that trust that there is nothing more required of me except for being my wholest and most true self in every situation. So that I don't need to force, the metaphysical ideas necessarily in the boardroom unless it actually is what I'm feeling in the moment in which I will.
Yeah, that makes a
Yeah.
lot of sense. I mean, I think that I, I think we all, to a certain perspective, especially the way society and culture has developed us. I have a business degree as well,
Mhm.
so I understand business management from that perspective.
Mhm.
Um, it's kind of these things where we always have to put a mask on. I do as a cop. You have to put a mask on. You have to wear a mask. And, we don't always get to be ourselves the way we normally are.
Mhm.
We don't have that opportunity to always come out and be ourselves,
Yeah.
or what we truly want to say or do, because we have to look at the outside interest in regard to the
Mm.
outcome of what we say and whether or not it's going to
Mhm.
have an effect on so many factors,
Yeah.
whether it be business wise or other people's lives. You have to
Yeah.
stop and think about how is this going to affect people? How is this going to affect my
Mhm.
business? How is this going to affect what the end result is? Is it going to be
Mhm.
positive, negative? Is it going to be short term, long term? I mean, there's so many other things to
Yeah.
do. Do you think, based upon you starting to
Mhm.
integrate kind of that
Mhm.
within that, do you think
Yeah.
leadership is evolving to include more soul centered
Yeah.
approaches? I personally think they should.
Yeah. It's actually striking because along these last 4 years, I mean, I have a lot of, sit down meetups, lunches, coffees, etc. And those are the spaces that I would begin to expose myself at first. What I found absolutely striking was that 95% of the time, and I'm talking about CEOs, philanthropists in our community, they resonated with this. They either resonated with it or it touched something in them, so they were incredibly interested in it. I never received the, oh my gosh, pushback. If anything, these are the people who now follow Dear Joy Love on Instagram because as leaders, we are often tasked. I mean, my gosh, police officer as well. You are tasked with having to make decisions
Yeah.
without all of the information. And often what we do without realizing it is we're using the unseen. We're using intuition, we're using gut instinct, we're using things that to me are sort of the gateway to that unseen. And so leaders, I actually think, are more predisposed to this in some ways because they've always had to access this other part of
Yeah.
themselves in addition to the data and the analysis. But so I think that it absolutely is becoming more present in leadership, and the more people who can be their whole selves unapologetically in those rooms, the better it's going to be for all of us.
I agree with that. I think, I mean, I was a sergeant, and I had a team, and you even from that management level, that was my team. I had to make decisions for that team and with that team, no matter what we did in each and every day, we had to do that. So
Mhm.
thank you for acknowledging that. By the way, most people don't understand
Mhm.
that cops have to make a life-changing, instantaneous decision sometimes.
Like that. Yes.
It's either, and they are life and death in those instances.
Yes.
So not many people. It being a cop is unique from this
Mhm.
perspective because when you have contact with a cop, with a police officer, a deputy sheriff, a law enforcement officer, it's typically, you're either a victim or you're a criminal.
Mm. Mm.
Typically, I mean, you
Yeah.
may have here and there, you may have a thing where they come up and say, "Hey, how you doing? How's life? How's things treating you?" Which I used to do walkabouts like that, where I go into the shops and
Mhm.
meet people and sit down and talk and kind of get community oriented. But that's
Yeah.
not always available. So you're either a criminal or you're a victim. So it's kind of one of those where I mean, we're going to get off on that end, but
I
we had to
love it.
learn as a team. We had to learn how to reach that everything that you just spoke about. We had to learn to understand our inner intuition. You had to learn to
Yeah.
believe in that. You had to learn to listen. You had to learn to connect your mind and your body with the environment and those things around you and the people that were
Mm.
around you. So I think that going that naturally into business is a positive thing. You mentioned
Mhm. Mhm.
wholeness. So,
Yeah.
uh, um, so individual wholeness is a key. Do you think that's a key to collective transformation?
I really do. I really do because I think so many of us are walking around parts of ourselves. I say that because I was. I really didn't, all of the things that I now understand to be true, I didn't get or didn't feel 10 years ago. And so I was, you talk about wearing a mask. I was wearing a mask. I was achievement after achievement, insatiably so, because I didn't feel all that great about myself. Something was missing. I always thought it was because I was a college dropout, which I was. I thought that I'd failed when I was 20 years old because of my severe anxiety and that I was never going to be able to sort of outrun that shame that I carried. And I think so many of us, no one would ever have had any idea that that was the case for me because I was still, succeeding in business and succeeding in community work, chairing boards. No one had any idea what was under the surface. And I think that's true for a lot of people who are walking through this world. And to me, this space of wholeness, where we are able to both understand ourselves and our connection to each other and the world around us, is where we begin to make decisions from a more whole place and start to see each other and collaborate more. And I think that's where our polarities and divisiveness begin to go away. I actually think it starts with the individual. I don't think it is, I talk about living now from the inside out instead of the outside in. I almost think that's collective as well, a collective necessity.
I agree with that. I think that's a great approach to life in general.
Mhm.
Do you think curiosity plays a role in personal societal growth? Speaking of growth,
I love that, Michael, because yes, and if I was to give one quality of mine now that leads me, it is that. It is I'm so curious about everything. I'm curious about us right now, right here, what this is becoming, why we're brought together, what new insights or creations come out of our collision. I'm curious about political ideology. I'm curious about collectivism versus individualism. Like, I'm curious about myself. Yes, curiosity has led me. And I really do think that all of us operating from a space of curiosity, which can be vulnerable, um, enables us to learn about ourselves and each other. Yeah. So great. I love that you said that. How does that manifest in your life?
In my life,
Curiosity.
I mean, it's over my lifetime, I've evolved immensely in regard to number one, an understanding of how we're all connected.
Mm,
And the I have always been a curious individual since I was a child. The one thing my father did teach me, I lost him at a very, very early age. I hadn't seen him since I was 15 because he and my mother had split up at 17. He died in a different state. But the things that I do remember him teaching me, one of them was curiosity and never lose curiosity because he was a journalist and
wow.
a brilliant writer. And he taught me that curiosity is a methodology for us to be able to continue to grow and learn within ourselves.
Mm,
And he taught me that from a very, very young age. So that in itself has stuck with me through my life, and I've done everything that I can to continuously learn. I'm continuously learning. I'm curious about this. I now we have an instant computer in our hands, where and my wife, my wife, or my kids will tell you something will come up, and I go, wait a minute, I got to write that, and then I'll write it down, or I'll look it up really quick, and I'll make a note of it, and I got like I don't know, I probably have 300 windows open because it's like, okay, here's one more thing, one more thing, one more thing, one more thing, one more thing. So,
mhm,
yes, I think curiosity, people say the cliche, curiosity kills the cat.
mhm,
Maybe if you're
mhm,
curious one too many times in the wrong areas, yes. But curiosity
mhm.
also opens you up to learning, opens you up to growing, opens you up to intellectually and
Yes.
physically being able to experience the world in a new and unique way.
Mhm.
Curiosity
Yes.
opens that door. So
Oh,
that's my
so beautiful. I love that, and I'm sorry about your dad. But what a gift that he gave you that is
yes.
lasting and probably something that you've given to your daughters, I would guess.
I have. They both do they give me a hard time about it, but they follow suit. So yeah.
As is the way with parents and children.
Well, exactly. And I've tried to do the same thing for my kids, and my kids are constantly growing and they're constantly wanting to learn. And they've understood that the only way to really understand life is to continue to learn. And
Mhm.
makes us can learn is the curiosity. I want to know why. I want to know what. Why does this work? What is it doing for us
Mhm.
in all aspects? That includes
Yeah.
the ideologies you were talking about, political
Yeah.
environment, the
Mhm.
climate environment,
Yes.
the everything. How
Yeah.
the Earth is changing. I mean, the Earth, Mother Earth is mad, and
Yes.
she's major mad. What
Mhm.
can we do about that? That opens doors for that. Um, and
Yes.
I respect you wanted to leave Vermont in the wintertime because I grew up in Colorado and we lived at 8,500 feet and it snowed in June.
Oh
Um,
my goodness.
so yeah, 30-inch snows and things like that. And we drove as far as we could get away until they said, when you said snow shovel, they went, "What's that?"
Yes,
And they
that's
went,
exactly what I was yearning for. Yes. And I'm like, I need to get far enough south that that question erupts. Yes. I know. It's lovely in certain aspects. And but again, I don't know that I'll do it again. I just continue to try to listen to myself because people ask me, "Are you going to Florida again?" I have absolutely no idea right now. Because in every moment, I'm just trying to hear me and follow it as best I can.
well, I did it because it's just too cold. And I was tired of it snow. No, reality is I found doctors down here that put me back together. So,
Oh,
um,
wow.
it allowed us to um, grow that way. So I
Yeah.
couldn't find the doctors in 5 doctors in Colorado said I'd be in a wheelchair for the rest of my life. So I came this way. My sister lives down here in Arizona, and I came down
Yeah.
here, and doctors here said, yeah, we can do that. So this is where we stayed. So anyway,
Yes.
backcountry.
Mm.
You have poetry.
Yes.
You have messages that continue to guide you. What's the one poem or message that continues to guide you? Maybe there's one that sticks with you, and why? Why does that stick with you so much?
Mm. I have it on my phone. And it's not a poem. It is a set of words, but it is remember who you are. Uh, because I think that's true of all of us. The more we can remember who we are, the stronger we're going to be as individuals and as a society and collective. And it's easy to forget who you are in moments when you are sort of in that busy hamster wheel, which I can still be in when you are navigating something that's really challenging and you wonder, there's no way in this world that I'm going to find the strength to get through it. For me, it is just remembering who I am and connecting with who I am because that's where creation and becoming originates. And so if I can stay connected there, and if we all can stay connected there, I think that what's going to make Mother Earth happy
Sarah,
is for us all to be connected with our cores.
Sarah, if you can hear me, you froze. Okay, now you're back.
Uh-oh, I'm back.
Sure.
I can. Okay, good.
1 second. We may have to I may have to ask you that again because
That's
you
okay.
you
I'll
froze.
give you a totally different answer, likely.
That's okay too.
Hang on, and let me just see. I can see it too that I'm a little fuzzy. So hopefully it's not on. It likely is on my end in Vermont because it can be. Okay. Is it staying consistent now?
It's consistent now. And yeah,
Okay,
we're
great.
almost done. We're almost done anyway. We'll be wrapping here in it.
Okay.
So it's almost
Okay.
done. So
Okay.
that was a brilliant answer from what I could hear but I heard about every other word. I filled in the rest myself, but the
It was
audience
probably better.
they couldn't hear my thoughts. So uh,
Okay.
so
Would
we'll
you
do this.
mind asking me again so that I can get in the space? Awesome.
I may not be able to. Yeah. Oh, you're glitching again.
Oh no. I'm so
Well,
sorry.
that's okay. Let's see if we can. I'm gonna pause. No, I don't remember the question specifically. So
I kind of do. I do if you want me to try again.
let how about we do this because I'm gonna have to cut some of that out. Um,
Great.
so what we'll do is this. This is one more thing before you go. If someone's feeling disconnected or or stuck in the seen or the unseen, what's one way they can begin exploring the unseen and um and help them move forward?
For me, it is sitting with yourself, truly sitting with yourself. I heard a lot about meditation and the things that I needed to do to try to be connected. None of that really worked for me until I actually found spaciousness within my life. And that could mean 5 minutes, it could mean a half an hour, but literally sitting with yourself and feeling your body, feeling your sensations, hearing, listening to yourself, that to me is the pathway to the unseen. It is acceptance of everything that arises, both feeling and sensation and thought, and just following it where it goes. I think that's what takes you to the space of oneness and connection.
That's amazing. I think that we all should take that to heart in regard to especially connecting with ourselves and connecting ourselves with the universe.
Yeah.
This opportunity for reflection.
Mm.
You have a lot of ways to connect with people. Tell me how we
Yes.
can reach you. And you've got 2 books and a podcast.
Yes, thank you. So my website is probably the best way, which is sarasbyers.com. But I do have 2 poetry collections available on Amazon. I have an Instagram page where I put poetry and some thought leadership, which is Dear Joy Love. And I also have the Collecting Insight podcast where my partner and I just explore what it means to be human.
And it's a brilliant podcast. I've been listening to it.
Thank
So
you.
thank you for being part of
Thank
this
you.
community. It's great. So everybody
Thank
needs
you.
to take a listen to that. And I will make sure that that's in the show notes and that they have an easy way just to click and get right to you to make it easy.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Michael.
Thank you. what an amazing journey. What an amazing opportunity for you to redefine yourself and have some purpose in your life and to move us all in the right direction. So I appreciate that the universe connected us. And thank you for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been an honor, truly.
This is, again, I'll make sure everything's in the show notes so that we got everything squared away for them to connect with you. Sara Byers reminds us that transformation doesn't always arrive with fanfare, sometimes whispers in verse, in silence, in the spaces we don't understand. Her story is a testament to the power of listening, and not just others, but to the quiet voice within. It's about honoring the mystery, embracing the metaphysical, and allowing grief to become a gateway to deeper connection. In a world that often values logic over intuition, structure over soul, Sara invites us to consider a new kind of leadership, one rooted in curiosity, creativity, and communication with the unseen. So if you ever felt a stir of something deeper, if you ever wondered whether or not your inner world could shape the outer one, let this episode be your permission to explore, to listen, and to receive, and to trust that sometimes the most powerful truths arrive in poetry. So thank you, Sara.
Thank you so much, Michael. Thank you, everyone.
That's a wrap for today's episode. I hope you found it inspiration. I hope you found motivation and a few new perspectives to take with you. If you enjoyed this conversation, be sure to like, subscribe, and follow us. It really helps us continue bringing incredible stories and insights. If you want to watch this episode, head over to YouTube, catch the full version. We'd love to hear from you. If you have any questions or ideas or think you'd make a great guest, reach out. Contact us at Michael at onemorethingbeforeyougo.com. Thank you for being part of One More Thing Before You Go community. And one more thing before you all go. Have a great day. Have a great week. And thank you for being here.
Thanks for listening to this episode of One More Thing Before You Go. Check out our website at beforeyougopodcast.com. You can find us as well as subscribe to the program and rate us on your favorite podcast listening platform.